Hey, it's Matthew Smith back again with another Real Next how-to tip, trick, whatever you want to call it, special request. So again, if you have these special requests, you can email me, msmith@realnext.com. Hit me up on Twitter or anywhere else to let me know what you would like to accomplish. It doesn't have to be applied within the program. Just a simple thing. This was a request for filters and groups. What's the difference and how do they work? A couple different ways that I look at things, and my way might not be the only way. I like tea, you like coffee. Some things are different at the end. We both get caffeinated, so sometimes they do work at the same. So what do I use groups for, and how do I use groups? Groups I like to use for prospecting purposes, right? So prospecting is great for me for groups. I like to create two different stages, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how I work with those stages, but I use a stage 1 and a stage 2 for that prospecting group. I also use them for things like maybe I'm going to be doing like a mail merge letter that I want to do, and I'll have a little group that I'll send out once a week. I'll export my data to Excel, I'll throw it into Word, and I'll do a nice little letter for that client. I also have my Outlook or my Gmail synchronization group in there. I have my newsletter group. So you can see here, Matthew Smith Outlook, Outlook Sync. And then I use it for different things like people who click that email or people that open the email. So I use it for like email marketing. I don't typically do it for things like retail owner or retail tenant reps or anything like that, because our program is made to find that stuff without groups. You've probably been trained by every other program out there to use groups. If you use groups in RealNext, that's great, but then we're like every other program, and we're not. We're way more efficient, we're faster, we're easier to use, and we want to make sure you understand that. If I want to find tenant reps, I can just simply select tenant reps, and then I can pull that information up. Filters is a way we can narrow down that information a little bit more. So if you're creating groups, industrial investors between 5 and 10,000, what if you need to find an investor between 4,000? Where do you find them at? You can't. What if you need an investor that's 21,000 square feet? You can't. And you end up making a group and 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 a group. You get the point. Now with those groups, the quick access information, but it only tells us so much information. I want to go and I want to find more information. So maybe I want to find all my apartment investors. Well, I can do it just as quick as a group, right? There's my apartment investors, 1 in 50 units. No problem. I'm going to clear it. Now, you saw how fast that was. Is that any faster or slower than a group? No, it's the same speed. So when you use the save filters, you're going to get a lot more power out of the program, and you're going to do it just as efficiently as what you would do with a group. But again, it's going to be a lot more powerful for you. So I'm going to load one of my filters in here. This filter right here is going to be for apartment minimum maximum. So maximum apartment they're looking for is 50, minimum apartment is 1. Okay, I just did that for demonstration purposes. My database isn't large. Now, if I wanted to add some other filters, so if I wanted to add in here, maybe a minimum maximum price that they were looking. So I can just type in minimum. And then again, I can select the investor, and now I can see minimum price. Maybe I want to say between, or maybe I want to say is greater than or equal to, and then their maximum price, maybe maximum, I type in max, the max price, and then I'm going to probably say less than or equal to. And if I want to say there's a certain cap range they're looking for, anything else, I can drill down that information so I can really fine tune and narrow that. If it's something that I use quite often, this is a filter that I use all the time, you can do a couple things. One is you can leave the information in. 2, you can leave that information blank, and you can come over to the right-hand side and we can say save as new. And we're going to call this apartment min max with price and cap rate. Add to my favorites list, save. And then anytime I want to be able to just pull that filter up, I can just load that filter and say show filters, and then I can put in the data. But it really allows me to be accurate, but also fuzzy. So if I had a group that says investment, buyers between 1 and 50 units, but maybe I want to pull up buyers that have 51 units or 52 units, again, I can pull that information up. Also, if you're a tenant rep, with some of the new updates we're coming, they're going to be on filters. Like groups are never updated. It's what you probably learned on other programs. I'm not going to mention those programs, but again, they're groups, and I think they're really inefficient. With our new program, you're going to be able to have a plus or minus off of a date. So if you're a tenant rep and you want to create a lease expiration for a tenant you're pursuing, and you want to say lease expiration is in 12 months, you can set it so it's today's date minus 12 months. You just pick how many days 12 months is. We all know what that is. And then again, plus 1 day, and then it's going to pull up everybody that their lease expires. So filters can also be applied on any data point within the program. This is just an example on contacts. You can do the same thing on properties, but all these are data points. Every single one of these data points can be filtered upon. You would need a group for every single one of these. Also, most people forget to take them in a group, like put them in a group, or take them out of a group. You don't want that, because then what you end up is in a bunch of group nightmares. Same thing, my pipeline. I use filters. I don't use groups for my pipeline. I want to filter off and allow the system to use it what it is used for. So again, I can come in here and I can see my pursuits. Or if I wanted to narrow down my pursuits a little bit more, I can do that. And again, on my properties. Now, this is where I think some of you all might be getting confused. And you can see here I have my nice little split screen. So people are saying to me, Matt, groups are great for prospecting. Well, they can be. Okay. We want to match buyers and sellers. We want to match tenants and space, and you should use filters on that. Most folks will pick an asset class, or they're going to pick a geographic area, what they're going to prospect on, or a building class or something like that. Use a filter to narrow down that criteria. Once you've narrowed down that criteria using your filter, okay, and filters have either an and, meaning it has to be this and that, so it's going to narrow it down more, or we'll add to it. So I want to see class A or B. That would show all my properties that are class A and class B. If I say has to be class A and B, it's not going to show anything because no property is class A and B. That's how and works. But if I want to say I want to see all properties that are class A with a cap rate of 6 or higher, that would be and. If you do or, it would show a building class or anything that's cap rate. So it would show either everything that's 6 cap or everything that's building class A. So you can play around with that. It's real easy. Once you do 1 or 2, you'll understand exactly where it's at. Once you filter out your information, like city, and I'm not going to go through all these, and I'm just going to say, in this case, I'm just going to go Las Vegas. So now I'm going to go and filter out everything in Las Vegas. You can use a keyword for this as well if you're just doing that simple. Then I will go ahead and I will say group, add to group. Records and current query, yes. That means everything in my filter is a group. I can create a group based upon what I'm going after. In this case, it's going to be Las Vegas retail. So I'll say Las Vegas retail stage 1, and then I'll make another group called Las Vegas retail stage 2. Simply hit add new group, data group. Also on your type, make sure you put your type as property, because you don't want that group to show up in contacts and so forth, unless you do. I will add every property in my stage 1. Okay, stage 1 is everybody I haven't touched. Then I'm going to go down through here and I'm going to call every owner and see if they're interested in selling. Pat, it's Matt. Pitch, talk about it. He says he's interested, great. I added as a lead to my listing pursuits. Says he's not interested, great. I take him out of that group. He says he's interested, but I haven't got to a point where I can set a meeting up. Just didn't hang up on me. He says, you know, Matt, I don't know. Great. I'm going to take Pat and I'm going to move him from stage 1 and I'm going to put Pat into stage 2. Okay. So I'm simply just progressing him from one group to another group. Everybody in stage 1 are people that you haven't talked to. Everybody in stage 2 is everybody that's pre-qualified, and everybody that is a lead on your pursuits, whether that's tenant pursuits, landlord pursuits, or anything else, those folks will be in your projects. Hopefully this helped. Until next time, happy prospecting.